Hey, it's Desiree Stafford, and I am the creator of Radical Freedom, and welcome to today's live stream, because we are talking about how to take your power back. This is a big topic, and I'm excited to talk about this topic today because I see this affect so many people, not just in business, which is what I help people with, but also in their money department, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, and also in their relationships. So I really want to talk about how you can take your power back. So what we're really going to talk about is what it looks like if you've lost some of your power. Thanks for the love, by the way. What it looks like if you've lost some of your power. And I'm also going to share with you some of the things that could have caused you to slowly lose your power, because it typically doesn't happen overnight, right? It's typically something that happens over a long period of time, because I want you to gain some awareness about this so then you know where to look if you're having some difficulty in your business, in your relationships, in your life in general. You know where to look so you can try to resolve this for yourself. All right. Hey, Laura, how are you? Hey, Leslie, how are you? Okay. So if you're not fully standing in your power, okay, and I think this is a really important topic and a big topic as well, because I know I talk about power a lot, right? There's a lot of experts who talk about helping women step into their power, empowering you, and supporting you to feel more empowered. Yet the reality is, so many of us as women are literally afraid of our own power. That's really what is inspiring today's live stream, because so many people, hey Laura, how are you? So many people want to feel more powerful. They want to be more powerful in their life and their businesses, but they're afraid of it unconsciously, all right? And I can tell you, I can raise my hand and be honest and say, I was one of those people for a very, very long time, okay? So even though I didn't always project that I was afraid of power, and I was always pursuing to more power in my business, in my relationships, in my life in general, I had this secret contract to never fully be powerful. So I was always limiting myself, and I didn't understand why, and it literally drove me crazy for a long time. So let's look at where you might. I want you to be able to see where you may not be fully standing in your power. Okay. So one of the things is, for example, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a coach, a consultant, a mentor, any of those kind of things, you are service-based business, which is the type of people that I support. If you're marketing, if you're putting your message out there consistently and people are not connecting with your message and they're not reaching out to want to take that next step with you, it may be that your marketing is not coming across as powerful, right? It may be that you are not coming across as powerful through your marketing, which is not going to support you, right? You have to come across as powerful, because that's when you stop suppressing your natural ability to captivate, to influence, right? And that's what you need to do in order to attract clients, right? And especially clients who are going to pay you. So if you're noticing that your marketing is really not hitting the mark, it's not drawing people to you, the kind of people who are ready to say yes on the spot, you may not be really standing in your power. Let me just see what you said, Leslie. My fear of being powerful was yes. Oh, let's talk about that. All right. I'm going to talk about power related to anger in a little bit, because I'm so glad you brought that up. All right. The second area, or the second way to notice if you're not fully standing in your power, is when you're in, like a sales conversation, for example, a discovery session, breakthrough session, makeover session, strategy session, whatever you want to call it. When you're in a situation like that and you can find yourself holding back, like that there's something you want to say to that prospect, but you bite your tongue. Right? You're like, I don't know, if I say this, they're going to get upset with me. Kind of related to what you're talking about with anger a little bit, right, Leslie? If I say this, they're going to be upset with me. If I say this, they're not going to accept me. If I say this, something bad will happen. I'll lose the sale. That's an indication that you're not fully standing in your power. Okay. Another area where you can not fully be standing in your power is maybe you're afraid to ask for the sale, because maybe asking for the sale makes you feel vulnerable. And if you feel vulnerable, you don't feel powerful, right? Well, we do know from a lot of work that vulnerability is a part of your power, right? We have to really embrace all of who we are. And I did a post about that yesterday, and we can talk more about that a little bit. But we really need to embrace all of who we are, because there's no aspect of us that doesn't make us powerful. It's how we perceive ourselves in those situations, right? Another way that you can be not fully standing in your power is if you are subconsciously pushing money away. Now, this was a huge revelation to me. Because what happens when we're able to be independent women who make our own money, and we don't have to need or depend on anyone else. We are fully standing in our power. Now, this is not to confuse the fact, whether or not you have a ton of money in your bank account to whether or not you don't means that you have more power than the other. It doesn't mean that, right? But if you are subconsciously pushing money away, you may be doing it because you've taken a secret vow at some point in your life to not fully stand in your power. And if you know that you have a lot of money in the bank, that might make you feel too powerful. I know it did for me for a really long time. And it took me a while to make that connection. It took me a really long time to see that, oh my gosh, it makes total sense. Here I am, afraid, and I'll share with you later on why I was really afraid to step into my power. And so obviously, what would I do? I'd push money away, because if I made a lot of money at one time, and this was my pattern, I'd make a lot of money at one time, I'd have huge income months, and then I would go weeks and sometimes months without another sale. Or if I made another sale, it was like a really tiny sale. But that was my way subconsciously of keeping myself small, of keeping myself, not really being powerful. Because if I'm really powerful, what happens then? I might push my family away, right? I might push the man I'm dating away. I might push my friends away, right? So all of that stuff can actually be going on for us below the surface. It's what's called a counter intention. So we might consciously know that I want to stand in my power. I want to do this. I want change in my life. But subconsciously, you may not be aware that if you have an issue or conflict with power, then you might actually be pushing money away, because money can really allow you to stand in your power in a way that you never have allowed yourself to do before. Okay. Another area where you can notice whether or not, and thanks for the love, by the way. Hey, Bethany, how are you? Another way that you could not fully be standing in your power is in relationships. Okay. I've seen this over and over and over again. Extremely successful women with a shit ton of money, like 7-figure business owners, and not always, okay, but I've seen a lot where they're in relationships that are unhealthy, unsupportive, and so they're giving their power away in those relationships. They're not speaking up. They're like the boss of business, but in the relationship, they don't ask for what they need and expect to get it. Okay. So those are just some ways where you may not be fully standing in your power. And I really want you to see it. I really want you to understand it so we can do something about it. Because once you have awareness, then you can make a different choice. Okay. So how do we sometimes subtly over, days, weeks, months, give our power away? All right. Number one, I want you to understand it's never really gone. What happens is we suppress it. So it's there within you, and we just need to uncover the shit that's keeping it stuffed down, okay? So how does this happen? Let's just be honest. We're not always, as women, raised to be truly powerful. Sometimes we're raised to be independent. We're raised to, take care of ourselves and take care of other people, but we're not always really raised to be fully powerful. And let's talk about the reality of that. Listen, as women, it's not been a very long time that it's been acceptable for us to make a shit ton of money and to do it for ourselves, right? It's not been accepted for a very long time. So of course it can feel scary, especially if you're the first generation, of someone in your family who's like really stepping out of the, the traditional role. If you're someone who's really stepping out and the first person owning a business, the first person making, 5-6 figures a month, whatever that number is for you, that can feel scary, and it can also feel threatening to the people around you. All right. So if you weren't raised to be powerful, and again, most women are not raised to be fully powerful, then that could be one of the reasons why you're not fully standing in your power, because you may have had this, you may feel a sense of disloyalty. Let's put it this way. You may feel a sense of disloyalty to the people who raised you, right? Because I'll be honest with you about a situation in my own experience. I come from a line of really strong women, but I will tell you that the way strong people in my family were treated is not how I choose to be treated now. But for a long time, subconsciously, I was still living this role. I was still, in my family, strong women, not men, but the strong women were always the ones who were burdened with doing everything for everyone else. And so, we weren't really appreciated for our strength. We were just kind of put on, you know what I mean? Like, just do more, take care of everybody else. And so the more powerful I became and I didn't want to take care of everyone else, the more guilty I felt about it. And so that was a part of me kind of like resisting the power because I didn't want to take on responsibility for everyone else. All right. It may be something similar in your family. It may not be, but I really want you to think about how you were brought up and what was the norm in your family. What was that hidden agreement that everyone made around power, especially women. Okay. Because we're typically raised differently than boys are, with different set of expectations. So that's one way. Another way is if you were, let's say, wounded around your power growing up. So maybe, and not just in terms of like the family dynamic, but maybe you were abused. Maybe you experienced some type of trauma. I experienced a sexual trauma when I was a child, okay? And I thought I handled this. I went to therapy. I did all the stuff. I read all the personal development books. I was like, I got it handled. Well, no, I didn't. Okay? No, I didn't, because a lot of people don't know how to do this deeper level work that I've had to do since I started a business that required me to grow in this area. But a lot of times we can feel a sense of trauma that causes us to lose our power. Or I don't like to say lose our power, to suppress our power. So maybe you were feeling, if I'm really powerful, then somebody's going to, get hurt in this situation, right? Or maybe you just felt unsafe really being powerful because if you spoke up about the trauma or you spoke up about the abuse, something bad was going to happen, right? Or maybe you're still secretly trying to punish the person who may have abused you, right? So you vowed to never fully be powerful because then it kind of lets them off the hook. Right? So if there's been some trauma that you've experienced, take a look at that to see if maybe that is what's causing you to not fully stand in your power. And thanks for the love, by the way. Yes, Bethany, guilt. Exactly. All right. What did you say, Laura? Feeling guilt for having more than others? Absolutely. All right. That's a big deal. Another area is, and I kind of talked about this a little bit in circles, but your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your man, your husband, whomever, your partner, whomever, if you've experienced a lack of support when you were standing in your power from the people who are closest to you, the people that you love the most, that can also make you kind of push power away. Because the more you are doing for yourself, taking care of yourself, it's not that you don't want these people around you. Of course you do. But if they feel threatened, because they're not fully standing in their power, then no matter what you do to grow and expand yourself, folks around you may feel a sense of intimidation. They may feel like it's not okay, and things may happen. They may argue with you, so they might verbally attack you. You might get into a physical altercation. I don't know what your situation is, but there are things that can happen, that subtly will chip away at you really standing in your power. I'll tell you, I've shared family stories with you before, but I remember one specific situation. I think I can laugh at it now, but at the time, I didn't even realize how it was affecting me. My first year as a real estate entrepreneur, I started investing in properties. My first year, I bought 5 houses, right? And, today I'm like, oh, good on you, girl. Look what you did. But I kind of felt like it wasn't enough because the mentors around me who were all male, they all had like 20 houses. So I was like, 5 houses, bullshit, nothing. You know what I mean? Look, I didn't even arrive yet. That was kind of what I was thinking. And then I was introduced to a really successful real estate developer. The man owned condos in a really ritzy part of the city. And I remember I was introduced to him because he was supposed to become my new mentor. And it wasn't a paid mentorship at the time. At that time, I didn't even know you could find paid mentors. But, we were having a conversation and I told him how many properties I had. And the man nearly fell out of his chair. And I was thinking, I don't even get that. Right? I don't even get that. And he said to me, you should be careful. Are you sure you're supposed to be doing this? Because I was a single woman by myself and I was in my late 20s at the time. I was a single woman by myself, and he was kind of like shitting on it, but at the same time planting seeds of doubt. Now, his seeds of doubt didn't make me lose or suppress my power, but it was part of many experiences that caused me to start suppressing my power, that caused me to think that what I was doing wasn't okay. And then I would date men who I would kind of get the same type of feedback. Oh, you're too ambitious, or who do you think you are to go after that? And all this kind of stuff. And I started suppressing my power. Then I had friends who I would talk to because they weren't trying to do the same things as me. They didn't have the same vision. I talk to them and kind of get the same kind of pushback, or they'd laugh. Like, what do you really think you're doing? Or when I even started coaching, I would get people kind of giving me that feedback, like, who's going to pay you that much? So I'm saying that to say that your environment, I said relationship, but let's just call this your environment of people, that can really, if it's not a supportive environment because these folks aren't growing at the same pace as you, it can really influence you in terms of whether or not you're going to fully step into your power or you're going to repress your power. So you want to be very careful of your environment, all right? So take a look at all of these things that I shared with you today, because if you're not fully standing in your power, I promise you, you are leaving, you are missing out on so much in life. This is beyond business here. You know, I'm a business coach, but let's talk beyond business, right? Because this is really about your life and the time that you have on this precious earth, and being able to fully own yourself and whatever it is that you want to do in the world. It's going to require you to fully step into your power. So if you can feel, based on some of the experiences that I've shared with you, some of the examples that I've shared with you today, if you can sense that you are not fully standing in your power, what I would invite you to do is make a decision today, make a commitment to yourself today that you are going to start standing in your power, right? Because again, once you have the awareness of how you might have been, you know, slowly giving your power away, some of the situations or experiences you may have been that cause you to desire to repress it, once you have that awareness, then you can choose something different. And in fact, you are responsible for choosing something different. If your life is not giving you the fun, freedom, fulfillment, if your business is not providing those things for you, you have a responsibility to do something about it. All right. This is why I shared all of this with you today, because, you know, I hear a lot of people, again, talk about empowering other people and wanting to feel empowered. But if you are afraid of your power and you were not aware of it until now, that could be why you're not getting what you desire, whatever it is you desire to be, do, or have. OK, but now that you have the awareness, you can't continue to say you don't know why it's not happening. Right. If you know, a lack of power or suppression of your power, I should say, has been holding you back. And I would imagine if you're watching this live stream with the title that you are aware at some level that you're not fully standing in your power. And I would invite you to decide to do differently. Okay, so let me go back and read some of the comments. You guys are awesome. So let's just see. Hey, Laura, how are you? Leslie, let me know. Did I address what you were asking about when you talk about fear and power? Because I have something to say about that. Again, Bethany, hey, how are you? Hey, Laura. All right. Feeling guilty for having more than others. Hell yeah. I totally get that. Yep. Guilt, Bethany. I got you on that. All right. Let's see. Oh, it's your biggest issue, Laura. Tell me more. I'd love to help. Yes. Awareness does open doors. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Thank you. All right. So Leslie, answer me. Let me know if I addressed what you were talking about when you mentioned anger. I will tell you, for me, I'm a very passionate person, if you couldn't tell. And I can be spicy. I can be very colorful. And I can be very hot-tempered. I'll just be honest about that. I was going to say I used to be, but nah, it's still in me. All right. And I was afraid of that for a really long time. I was afraid because I was just afraid that people won't like me. They'll think that I am bad, mean, evil, whatever it was. And I was afraid of my power and my anger, I should say. And I would try to push it down and stuff it down like it doesn't exist. That's not good. That's not good at all. I don't think that you should suppress any emotion. I don't think you should allow yourself to dwell and get sucked into the emotion, but I do believe that you should allow every emotion that you have to bubble up to the surface. Let it clear, okay? Because repressing it, it just causes more drama. And it causes, in my opinion, things like depression and low self-worth and all that kind of stuff, because you are not allowing yourself to be all of who you are. You're a human. Listen, you are a spiritual being, yes, having a human experience, but that means we're not perfect, right? That means we're not perfect. That means things are going to piss us the fuck off, right? And things are going to make us really happy, and things are going to make us sad, and things are going to make us joyful. That's the experience of life. And you've got to allow all of you to be celebrated and appreciated, and stop judging yourself if you feel angry about something. You know what I mean? If you don't like something or whatever, it's who you are, right? And the more you allow yourself to embrace every single aspect of yourself, the happier you will naturally feel, right? Because if you allow your anger to come up guess what that means for your joy and your happiness, right? It means that you allow all of that to come up too. But the more you try to suppress your anger, guess what happens? The more you suppress your joy, right? If you suppress anything, you are suppressing everything, right? So don't do that to yourself. All right, let's see, Leslie. Oh, wait. Laura, here we go. Leslie, I had to get comfortable with feeling selfish. Oh, fuck yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. That makes me happy to read that, Leslie, because I had an issue with allowing myself to be selfish too. But this kind of goes back to what I just said about allowing yourself to feel everything. There is nothing wrong with being selfish, okay? Nothing wrong with it. If you're completely self-centered all of the time, that's another issue. But if you're selfish, meaning that you take care of yourself, that is important because it allows you then to have the energy to take care of other people when you choose, all right? So I'm glad that you've gotten that. Let's see. Go ahead, Leslie. All right, Laura. I have spent my life supporting others and seem to overlook. Oh my gosh, girl, please. I totally get it. Yet I am lively and forward, but not getting paid in the process of dealing with that. So, you know, this is a short live stream, so I can help you really diagnose that, like, why you're not getting paid. I'm not clear on that yet because I don't know you well enough yet, right? But I totally understand about this, what you wrote about, you spent your life supporting others. So possibly, I want you to look for some awareness around this. Could it be that you still have this secret contract with yourself to take care of other people? Like it's not okay for you, even though consciously you want to, you know, do for yourself. Maybe you still have this attachment to, or this sense of loyalty to taking care of other people before yourself. So look into that. Okay, maybe do some journaling around it. If you have a coach or mentor, have them, you know, support you around that, or reach out to me if you're looking for somebody, because you need to understand why you have that awareness, but yet you're not breaking through. Okay. Because you should be getting paid. Thank you, Bethany. How are you? Cinderella syndrome. Hell yeah, I get it. Hey, Vivian, how are you? You're trying to get your mojo back. You used to be super confident, super achiever. Okay. Got lost in years of being a caretaker of others. Listen, I attract a lot of people who were the caretaker of others because I was the caretaker of others. I was raised that way. So I watched my mother and my grandmother do the same thing. So can you imagine me trying to break out of that? Like when there's 2 generations ahead of me who that's what they did and they never broke free. So I totally get that. So you got lost in years of being a caretaker for others and being knocked down by the many isms affecting women of color. Let's talk. All right. So where are you at? You're trying to get your mojo back. What are you doing, Vivian, to try to get your mojo back? I'd love to support you. Okay. Attending live streams like this will help. You're welcome, Laura. I'm so glad it was supportive. All right. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them into the comment box, I guess it is, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. If you are someone who wants to add 6 figures to your business and you want to do it in a way that allows you radical freedom. So this is time freedom, emotional freedom, mental freedom, no more stress and worry about where the next client's going to come from, and able to have the kind of money that you want to have in your bank account, doing the work that you absolutely love with clients who light you up, clients who inspire you and are inspired by you. Then check me out at DesireeStafford.com/session, and we can talk about what it might look like to work together. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? Awesome. Definitely touch base, Vivian. I would love to support you. Anyone else with a question before we go? Yeah, Laura. All right, guys. I'm so glad that you took what I shared in today's live stream, and I hope you actually do some of the work that we talked about. Like, I hope you don't just get the awareness, but you actually do something with it. Like, you spend some time today, over the weekend, whatever you want to do, really like looking at some of the areas of your life where you might not be fully standing in your power, and make a commitment, make a decision to do this, because this not only impacts you, but it impacts your clients. It impacts your family, right? It impacts other people. This is how we change the world. When we change ourselves, when we are fully standing in our power, we then give other people permission to do the same, right? We're not actually physically giving them permission, but when we shine our light, we then become the inspiration for other people to step into their power and do that for themselves as well. So this is bigger than you. I think you are the most important one. I think you need to do it for yourself first and understand that as you fully step into your power, as you fully own your shit, own your brilliance, right? And allow yourself to receive the money that is due you, that is coming to you, that you deserve for all the hard work that you've done all of these years leading up until this point, that there's ripple effects for that, right? And that is how you really change the world. That's how you change the world, all right? Let me see if there's any more questions. Hey, Kellyanne, how are you? Oh, I'm so glad you needed it. And you want to get paid. Awesome. Go back and watch it from the beginning. I shared a lot of examples of why you might not be fully standing in your power, so that you have some awareness to go back and see where you may have subtly given your power away, so you could take it back. All right. Thanks for joining, you guys. If you are just coming on, go back, watch the replay. If you have questions, ask them in the comment box and I'll be sure to reply, even if you're watching the replay. And for those of you, again, who want to add 6 figures to your business and you want to do it in a way that's going to give you the freedom that you want. So not just the financial freedom, which is important, but it's also going to give you the time freedom, the mental freedom, the emotional freedom. Then check me out at DesireeStafford.com/session. All right. Have a great weekend. And until we speak again, I hope you guys are up to big, bold things in your life and in your business. Take care. You're welcome, Laura. Take care. Bye.